And Rashi says they're designated completely forever. Meaning, if you designated the shearings of wool la'olam forever, then it would lose its that's enough. That now you moved it from a raw material that's going to be moved to a second level, second process, and you plan on processing it, and that's something you can't do on Shabbat, to something that is now became an insulator, and you could use it before Shabbat to insulate, and therefore it will not be a muksa item. That law in the Mishnah, that the shearings of the wool, the raw shearings of the wool have a status of muksa, is only when you did not designate it for a insulator forever. Right, Simon? But if you took these shearings of wool, which are raw shearings of wool, and most people, what do they do with raw shearings of wool? They make a garment from it, which you have no use from these on Shabbat. What do you do with raw material on Shabbat? But if you went ahead of a yichtalat manah, but if you went ahead and you designated it for atmanah purposes, then then you can go ahead and move it. Then it's no longer muksa. You have removed its status from being mukseh by the fact that you went ahead and you designated this item forever. Itmanami. We also learned like this: Kiata Ravin Rabbi Yaakov Rasi ben Shalom Rabbi Lo Shanu El Shelo Yichtal Hatmana. That law that the sharings of the wool, the raw sharings of the wool that you insulated the pot before Shabbat, that it still retains the status of mukseh. That's only when you did not designate it for hatmana, of hatmana. If you designate for hatmana, then you could go ahead and move them. Ravina says he disagrees. He says if you went at like Rava, he understood the literal thing that Rava said before. Once you use it for installation, that's enough. But Rashi learned it as if you designated it for that purpose, and therefore it's no longer mukseh. But what does the Mishnah mean when the Mishnah says? See, the Mishnah is talking. Rav is talking about regular case of shearings of wool. The Mishnah is talking. The Mishnah is talking about a case of b'shel heptake. Shanu. What's the heptake? Heptake is when you have a storage area. You have a storage where you keep your merchandise that you're planning on selling, your storage, whatever your facility for sale warehouse. It's a better morning mark. Boker tov. Gotta get here's the gemara for mark. So ruchim habayim. So when it's in the storage house, therefore that even if you go ahead and you went ahead and you used it, now I took something out of the storage house and I took out of the storage house 58-1. I took it out of the storage house and I used it Friday. I took it Friday afternoon. I needed to insulate my pot before Shabbat. I went ahead and I took out from the storage room. I have merchandise that I sell. I took out from the storage room this wool, this raw shearings of wool, and I wrapped the pot before Shabbat. Doesn't add heat. It's a good insulator. So but what do I plan on doing after Shabbat? I plan on putting it back. I plan on putting it back into the storage house, but I still plan on selling that material. So therefore, that is mukseh. It doesn't lose its status of an item that's standing to be sold, and therefore it is mukseh. However, the Mishnah, Rav is talking about when it's not from this. You didn't take it from the storage house. You cut the wool yourself, and you didn't have it in the storage house. Therefore, if you put it on the pot, that's already, it's not mukseh. Now, without designating it forever, right? Just that mere, you just have to use it before Shabbat. That will be sufficient according to this opinion. Now, Tanya Hachi, we also learned that a brighter like this, Gizi Semeshel Heptake. If it's shearings of wool that you got from the storage house, which you plan on putting back in the storage house because you're selling it, then ein metalton atam. It doesn't lose its status. It still remains mukseh. But if you went ahead and you designated it, if the balabayit designated, that it should be um, for permanent use, meaning when it's from the storage house, you can't use it, right? You can't move it. But if you designate it only over there, when you designate it for permanently that I want to use it for an insulator, then metal telotam, then I could move it. But if I did not designate it permanently, it's going back to the storage house, so then it would be mukseh. Tana Rabba Bachona Kamei de Rav. Rabba Bachona learned in front of Rav, Churiot Shadekel. You have these hard branches of the palm tree that Rashi says that when it became hard, when the branches become hard, um, when the spine of the lulav becomes hard and the leaves fall off, then it's called choriot. So you have choriot shedekel shegodron leitzim. You cut it because you wanted it for wood, for firewood. Firewood is mukseh. Shabbat, but you can't use firewood. But then you decided, no, I want to use it make a little chair out of it, make it a place to sit on, a little something to sit on.
Take a rock and designate a rock. Take a wood, designate a wood before Shabbat.
Based on what the Gemara, right? But the question is, we have to see. The case of the Gemara is when you actually if you designated and you actually started the use before Shabbat. But what about if you took a rock before Shabbat, but you didn't start but it wasn't used yet? I say, I think the rock that's on the floor here. I say I want it to be. I want to use it for it, but I didn't start using it for it. Is that enough, or you have to actually start using it before Shabbat as that door stopper or whatever you ever call it? So that's not. So if we have to look in the Shulchan Aruch to see more about that.
Think about setting up an A-roof and you put the food 2,000 away. You're not using it until you get there.
Right, but the point is there when it's food, it's food is not a muksa item. But here the question is if you want to take if you're taking an item that is muksa like a rock, it's always muksa. Now, but you want to remove. Now you want to take that rock and make it not muksa. So the question is, what do you need to do with that rock? So we'll see. We're going to see more now. Gemara's coming up, and then maybe after we finish the Gemara, then we'll be able to look at the whole. We'll have the whole picture to see how to answer. What if you want to make a rock not muksa, what needs to be done before Shabbat? Because we're going to see about this is going to be connected to the story right here. So you have the pieces of wood, and now it was cut for wood purposes. Okay, so now it's a muksa item. The nimlach aleim liyeshiva. Now you decided, Simon, you don't want to use it for wood. I want to use it for a little chair. The floor is a little, it's a hard floor, the dirt floor, so I don't want to sit on it. So now, do I have to do anything? Just my having in mind before Shabbat, right? This is like a similar case of your rock. Seems like Mark's case of a rock. I have something that's muksa, right? And now I want to remove it from the status of muksa. I just had a mindset. My mindset was I want to go ahead and my intent is that good enough. So we have a machloket here. So what do we see? Sarach lekasher. The Tanakama, the first opinion said you actually do an action in the wood to change its status. In order that it's no muksa, you have to tie the wood together. So if you tie the pieces of wood together, the palm branch, the hard spine of the palm branch together, so now that action shows you that's when you want to sit on it. When you want to use it for wood purposes, you don't tie it together. It's not the way you use wood. You throw pieces of wood in separately. You don't tie wood together to throw it at the feet of fire. So now you did this action of tying it together, and therefore that will make it lose it's no longer mukseh. Right. On Shabbat.
tying it because I'm separated. Because if I don't separate it, I'm gonna say, okay, was it 4 pieces or 5 pieces or 6 pieces? Was it this piece or that piece? Or these rocks, I'm using them for a doorstopper. Which rock was it again? Now, if I separate it, maybe that's what tying is doing. It's taking it away from the bundle or the volume, taking one rock away from 10 rocks, so I know which rock it
But
is.
according to that logic, if the rock was clearly separated and I just didn't do anything, would that be enough?
So if your wood was separated,
Right.
would it be enough,
Would it-
or I would still have to go?
Right. So it seems that you would still have to tie it, according to this opinion, because Rashi says you have to lehochiach, you have to show that it's standing to be used as a chair. And if you don't tie it together, it's forbidden because having a mind with your mind is not enough. That is the first opinion. Now comes the second opinion, comes Rabbi Shimon Gamliel, and it seems the halacha is like Rabbi Shimon Gamliel. See that little bet over there on top of the you don't need to tie it. He says just having a mind, designating it for the purpose of I want to make it, I want this wood to be used as a chair now. These pieces of wood, that's good enough. That removes its status, which is in sync with the Gemara before. But the only thing is, see, the Gemara before spoke about the idea of designating the materials forever for installation, according to the way Rashi, Rashi explained one opinion of the Gemara that if you designated it forever, the shearings of wool, then it's no longer mukseh. So maybe this is so if you tie it together, you don't have to sit on it because you already. Okay, I mean, according to the first opinion,
Yeah.
right? According to the first opinion, doesn't seem like he says. He just says you designated it. Doesn't say that you actually sat on it, right? It just says we had in mind that it's for yeshiva. You know what? We're going to see coming right up, Mark. You're going to see another opinion. Let's see, coming. Let's see. But he doesn't seem to say you have to actually have sat on it before Shabbat, right? He only says you just have to, you have to have in mind the intention is good enough. But the first opinion is the first opinion. 1 second. The first opinion. No, that's the second opinion. You don't need to tie. So you don't have to. You have to do something. You have to do an action. Tie it together. Now comes the Gemara. Who Amala, the rabbi who said the argument between Rabbi Shimon Gamliel and Tanakama, and not only he said the Tanila who Amala, he also says the halacha is from Shimon Gamliel. The halacha is like the lenient opinion that designating it for the purpose of being a chair, that is enough. You don't have to do any action in the item, right? So designation is enough. Itma. Now comes that's the argument among the Tanaim, the early rabbis. Comes the later rabbis, and we'll see because we just said that this later rabbi said that the law followed Shimon Gamliel, and now we're going to find Rav and Shmuel arguing that. Rav Omar kosher. Rav takes the more strict opinion. You have to tie it together in order that it should be removed from the status of mukser. It has to be tied together. Shmuel Omar, and Shmuel says choshev. Shmuel says, as long as you think about it, plan, have a mind, having a mind is enough. That's sufficient. Separating it in your mind. Rav Asi says what Mark was started to say before a little bit. Rav Asi says like this: Yoshev afal pishlo kisher. If you sat on it before Shabbat, he says that's good enough. Afal pishlo kisher, even if you did not tie it, which in a certain sense,
And even though he did not intend to sit.
I mean, but again, he sat on, no, he sat on it. Yeah,
I think he doesn't intend to sit on, he's not saying, he didn't designate. If I took the wood, I put it on Friday, I sat on it on Friday, tied, not tied,
it's good enough.
it's good enough to, now I can sit on it on Saturday. What do I have to have intention for? I made it a seat already. There's the seat.
Right. So he says, you'll shave even if you didn't tie it. For afal pi shaluch he shave. Even if you did not have in mind that I'm going to use it on Shabbat, Rashi says, but the fact that I sat on it, I use it shows you that it's a chair. That's a chair. Now, if you see to line up this opinion, this seems to be in sync with Ravina with the shearings of the wool. In what way? Because Ravina said the shearings of the wool remains mukseh only if we're talking about shearings of wool that were from the storage house, where you plan on putting it right back in the storage house. But if it's not storage house material, if you used it before Shabbat to insulate, it's not mukseh.
Like
So it sounds like Ravina.
in some ways.
Good morning, David.
In some ways, this is the strictest opinion.
Because he
It sounds like it's the most lenient opinion because you don't have to have intention, you don't have to die. But you have to use it. Right. So if you're telling me I have to use it, it trumps the tying it or intention. But where does he hold if you tie it and you don't sit on it?
all right, to tie it would be fine. But I see. Yeah, right. Because see, I'm going to question what you said, Mark. What would Ravasi hold if you thought about it before Shabbat? Dave, right. We're talking about an item that's mukseh. Let's say a piece of wood that's standing to be for burning material. You're going to use as firewood. That's mukseh on Shabbat. You can't handle the firewood on Shabbat. Can't handle the charcoals on Shabbat. What do you need to do to remove its status of mukseh? Before, what do you have to have in mind? I want to use it for a chair. That enough? You have to tie the wood together to show that I'm using it as a chair. What? So now, if Asi says sitting on it is good enough, even if you didn't tie it and you didn't have in mind to that, you didn't specifically say I'm gonna use it tomorrow or use it for a chair. Sitting on it in itself shows there's enough. So what would be if he had in mind to use it as a chair? Maybe he would. Oh, that also would be good. He's just saying. I mean, I'm Rav Asi is just saying the following. You don't need necessarily to tie it, and you don't even need to have in mind to use it on Shabbat. Designated, as long as you sat on it. But now, what about if you sat on it before Shabbat? What about if you didn't sit on it before Shabbat, but you had in mind to use it? Maybe that would be good also. He doesn't say, but I'm saying Rav Asi seems to be, that seems to be his lenient opinion. Let's take a look if anyone.
I think this is if you use it on Friday, it's no kiddush. No, it's nothing, no question. Not a question.
Again, using a Friday according to everybody, you're saying?
It should be no problem. I'm sitting on a chair right now. I'm sitting on a Friday. This chair made of wood. There was no cushion on it. Made of wood. Sat on Friday. Of course, I could sit on it.
No, because that chair. Remember, we're talking about it's not firewood. Firewood is standing to be used as. So if you didn't tie it together, we're talking about a piece of wood, not connected. It's raw material. You
use it for fire.
You use it for. So now you sat on it before Shabbat. What does that make it now? Now it's no longer now it's no longer for firewood. Is that enough? Is that enough?
As he said, is stump of wood. It could be firewood.
I mean, it's just firewood. It's not. It's the case of the Gemara was you cut it for firewood. I mean, it wasn't like it was open for interpretation. What you did it. It was clear that you cut the wood.
A block of wood.
For what purpose?
Is it mukseh or not?
Morning. What is this block of wood standing for? But what do people? So what do people do with it?
Build it.
You build with it. Use it for firewood. It's mukseh.
So now, if I sit on it on Friday afternoon, it's okay to sit on it Saturday.
You could actually move it on. I mean, you could move it.
I can move it, I can sit on it.
Technically, muksa, you could sit on muksa. You could sit on top of a
But you can't
television on
move it.
Shabbat, right? You can't move the television, right?
Sit on-
You can sit on a car if you don't move it. You're allowed to touch muksa. You're not allowed to move muksa. How do you like that? There's no problem of touching muksa as long as you don't move it.
Yes. So it doesn't go on.
There's no problem of touching a muksa item if it doesn't move. Muksa is you're not allowed to move the item. See, that's where you come to the class, Nathan, right? You heard of chidush, right? Right? The muksa is only now most things
Come back to
move.
The wood. You need the wood, so I can sit on it.
You like that, David? You like that?
His point, you could sit on the wood, whether you designated it, whether you sat on Friday, anyone could sit on it.
No problem sitting on wood. You can sit on muksa, but the problem is you can't move the muksa. The question you want to move, right? You want to move the muksa, right? What's the language of the Gemara? Metaltalin. Metaltalin means to move, right? Metaltalin are movable materials. You call
If I
metal.
have a block of wood that's used for building, it's a cube, you could sit on it. I can't move that unless I sit on it on Friday according to Rav Asi.
Take Mark, a concrete block. Concrete blocks are always used for.
Building.
construction. But you could sit on Friday,
Then
and therefore you could
you
move
move it.
I mean, they
You
can-
can move it. You could move. You
Right.
could sit on Shabbat evidently without, no, there's no question sitting. Question is you could move it on Shabbat if you sat on it on Friday.
Right. Because now you've made it into a chair.
Earlier, if you designated.
Right. Or you could say his opinion would also say, even if you didn't sit on it before a Friday, you said, this block is becoming a chair. Now, does it mean I have to have in mind that I'm making it a chair forever? Or does it mean I have in mind that I want to make it a chair
For now.
for now? So that's not so clear.
On Tuesday, can you sit on the block?
Yeah, you show again, according to this opinion, you sat on it, you showed that, but again, but according to this opinion, but
And
it
if
could.
you designate
I'm gonna go for a walk.
But next week,
I'm taking the garage door alone.
So I want to get back to before you get to that question. See, it could be that a block, like your case,
a real.
a real concrete block, is more like the storage house. It's going back into the storage house. I mean, it's not like something that you're going to relieve at that. It's not like something that you could make into a. You're not. It's maybe like the storage house. It's that would be muktzeh. The fact that the Gemara says, Nathan, you use the shearings of wool from the storage house that you plan on selling, that will still be muktzeh. So your case, Nathan, of that cinder block, you sat on it on Tuesday. It's still a cinder block. It's still a building material, and therefore I would say your case. Now, if I go ahead and actually say that I'm designating this, see, the case of the cinder block is it says if you designated it forever to be used, right? Therefore, there was the Gemara spoke about the things going back to the warehouse, that if you designated it forever, then it would change the status. That from that Gemara earlier would sound like that if you have shearings of wool from the storage house, you took it out, and now I say I don't want it anymore to be. I'm not selling it anymore, right? I'm using it as an insulator. It's no more muksa. So according to that, it should be that the cinder block.
Yeah.
I go and I said that cinder block. I'm making this cinder block forever. No longer, not you sat on it on Tuesday or Wednesday. It's going back to the building. But what about if I actually had in mind I am using this cinder block now I'm using it as my chair. I have a new chair called the cinder block. According to the Ravina before that you actually had a designation, so that should be good enough. But just sitting on it, according to that, now. Yes, Nathan, I don't know if I'm just saying that's but now. So let's see what Asi says.
Can I use it the following Shabbat? 2 Shabbats from now?
Now, your question is designating it for 1 week. I mean, according to Rashi, at least, Rashi,
When they're designated Do I have to designate it for this Shabbat?
It's forever, or forever. Right. So Rashi uses the language of forever. Rashi uses, at least Rashi said, Yichdan lahatmana. Rashi says in Rava, when Rava said, made a distinction between, Rava said, if I designate, when Rava said with the shearings of the wool, Rava said, at least according to the first language of the Gemara, Rava says, when is the shearings of the wool, the raw shearings, muktzeh? When I did not designate it for insulation. But if I designate it for insulation, then I can move it. And Rashi says in that opinion, if I designate it for insulation forever. Again, but that's according to that opinion. But if you used it once already, so the question would be, but that's the case when you actually
It's not going back to the storage house.
right. It's not going back to the storage house. But the question is, if you didn't use it at all, you see, because the Gemara said that the other rabbi said that Ravina said that the Mishnah is talking about the storage house is the problem, right? But according to that, if it's not storage house stuff, would you actually have to designate it forever or not? So that we have to see exactly more about that. But this opinion, we just end with Rav Asi. Rav Asi says, if you sat there, you sat on the wood, even if you didn't tie it, and even if you didn't designate it, that is sufficient. Now, what would he hold by designating it? Would that also be enough? That's Mark's question. Okay, so we'll have to.
If he owns it, designate then it's obedient. He said you have to use it. In some ways, it's stricter.
Right, but it would sound like to me, it sounds like he's saying, if that designation might be enough, sitting might be enough, and tying is enough. Either one of the three.
That's it's the most lean.
It says
When
he
you
says
say you have to have attention and sit on it.
no, yeah, right. He doesn't sound like he's saying that, but we'll have to see more about that. Okay, want to wish everyone a great day. Ralph, welcome back again. Ralph, you're
Thank
2
you.
days in a row. You're on a good streak.
Yeah, after a couple of days, it'll be a habit.
That's great. You should know that the machloket. Simon said hello.
Hey, Simon, how are you?
Hi, good.
Good
to you.
Same here. I thought David Cohen there today?
No, you spoke to him.
No, not yet. No,
He's waiting for your call, Ralph.
I'll definitely call him today.
Okay, great.
All right, take care.
Yeah, you too. And we'll also tell him that we only had one Cohen yesterday. We might, and I'm saying,
You know
Cohen
what?
came from.
It's
What?
more than one Cohen that we have in the shul here.
Yeah, tell him
One
the Cohen was imported from Deal, New Jersey yesterday. So if we, a resident of Deal, Mr. Tawil. So we need someone sitting here.
I need to get a Cohen first in my shul. There's no
Okay.
Cohen.
Okay, got to recruit.
Yeah, I'm the only Levi also. One
Okay, they need you badly in that show. I'll tell you that much.
I'm telling you.
But every show needs everybody. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Everybody makes the difference. All the best.
Yes.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.